All right, as promised, this is our astrological signs by Tikkun. So I'm going to get started right away with the North and South nodes. I'm just going to reiterate that this is of interest of me. I am not an expert in any means, but I have some really good resources for some experts for you. I have some cliff notes from some of their work, as well as some other resources for sites that you can jump on. So we're going to start with the North and South nodes. So that is where you find the balance of your major correction. So we've chatted in past classes, and the North node is like this lifetime, the things your soul came to learn, your lessons, your growth. And then the South node is going to be your past, your karma, where you're comfortable. It's going to be things you've mastered. So you might be too comfortable in certain situations, or you might not even be using those things that you mastered. So when the problem shows up, it's going to show up, right now in this lifetime in the North node, and then we're going to go into the South node to actually go into the past life, the karma, our choices, and then we're going to bring that together for a solution. And then what's going to happen is, because they're always balancing each other out, like that karma ends up back in the South node, and then we kind of reap what we sow, so that it will come back into the North node for the present time. And then, like, based on your free will choices, they keep going back and forth. So if you made a correction for better or worse, like, this is what you're getting, and then you can revisit it again and again. So just a couple notes. We want to work in the North node and South node correction, the major correction, as our primary, and not overanalyze, and also not get too involved in that when you might feel yourself like maybe getting stuck or having like a red light or a closed door there. So we want to follow the green lights. We want to follow the doors that are open to see if you're getting needy in that area, if you're over-focused in it and you're not doing any of the other spiritual work in that regard. Then you want to kind of hit the brakes there and go where it's open. And I'll tell you, that's been like opening up miracles for me, and I'm picking up little sparks of life all over. That has been like such a benefit and a blessing. And I just encourage you to like see where you might be overworking that or underworking it. We have our major tikkun per our signs, and then there's broader tikkuns like per the elements, per each sign. So I'll go through those, and there's some really great, Rob Berg has a great book called Kabbalistic Astrology. Ayla Ardini has, she's a great Kabbalistic astrologer, so she's got loads of work, and there's just so many Kabbalistic astrologers. So if you find anything you come across that you want to dive into, then by all means, as long as we're not overdoing it, and if there's something that you recommend or see that differently than like I came across or where my focus was led, then by all means do share with us. You will find that you have your major corrections, and you focus on your sun and like your rising and your moon, and Jess always also mentions Saturn and your 12th house. So, one thing at a time, but kind of take a broad look at all of that and like see where you need to make your corrections. And then in each house, you're going to have signs. I mean, some houses you might not have any signs. Like I have 2, almost 3 with like no signs or barely any signs. So, but you can look, and as we get through this will make more sense, that you can say, ooh, this is happening to me, and I'm going to check that house. So we're going to get started right away. I will note that like Astro Cafe is good for your astrology chart. Astro Butterfly is great for like articles on the North and South node, and Astro Seek was great for me for my lunar nodes. Like it really spelled out that correction, and it fit really nicely with like other things that I came across to really solidify like this is your correction. And it was spot on, like right in my blind spot, like always there. Then I find that also I noted in class that those little 3 dots in your upper right browser that you can just click and hit find in page, hit lunar nodes, and it'll take you right there, so you don't get caught in that scrolling. Same with when you're looking like in a certain house, because I know we can all get caught up in that. So I'll get started with the broad cocoons of each element. So we have our fire elements, and their broad cocoon is ego. And then we go into earth, who tend to get stuck. Air signs will lack commitment. And then the water signs are like just really uncertain and really insecure. Starting with Aries. Aries is a fire sign. So we're going to go fire, earth, air, water, and we'll do that 3 times to hit all 12. And then we're going to transcend that into the 13 for unity and oneness and love. And that's our goal, right? So Aries broad cocoon is freedom. So they have to learn to control their pride, their temper, that anger, and then their selfish desires. That right there is their transcendence for freedom, is their selfish desires into like desiring for the whole. That's going to get them to their freedom. And then nullifying pride, leading with confidence, and then also not looking for any approval, and knowing their true self, their true desires. So next we're going to head into Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign, so earth signs get stuck easily, and their broad cocoon is actually stubbornness and comfort. So they're so comfortable and they're so stubborn that they don't see any reason to desire any change. They fall into that complacency, like ignorance is bliss. And then they are motivated for lack, but sometimes they don't even notice the lack because they're just so dang comfortable, right? So then they also want to really watch out for like that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, because they will burn it down so nobody else can have it. Their major corrections are going to fall in like transcending fear, distrust, judgment, anger, pride, and they won't judge. They won't decide because of judgment, which I touched base in class and thought was very interesting. And they have to be very careful and watchful so that they transcend any extremes in instant gratification, especially sex, because they're super passionate. But any instant gratification, and then apply that instead to unity and love. Next, we're going into Gemini. And Gemini is an air, so they lack commitment. And their broad cocoon is superficiality. But Geminis, they move quickly. They are shapeshifters, which can be to the positive and to their detriment, because they're influenced super easily by the twins, the light and the dark. So they can actually end up contradicting themselves and then also wanting credit for it. And like really tend to act towards ignorance in that regard and change super rapidly. Their major correction is that they will shine super bright if they just slow way down to discover that truth between those twins. And then that allows them to communicate authentically. And also they want to nullify pride. They're going to want to exchange ideas and then really connect and respect with others. And this is going to lead to their freedom. So next we're heading into our first water sign. And our first water sign is Cancer, which falls into insecurity and uncertainty, and they're no different because their broad cocoon is fear. So they are so insecure and so uncertain that they look to the material, and they really don't see any way out, so they don't take risks. So it's really good for them to actually take risks. And their major actual correction is certainty and sustenance, which allows them to share abundantly. And then they really want to dedicate themselves to a loving home and family. From here, we're going to head into Leos. So this is perfect because tonight's a full moon in Leo. So I encourage you to celebrate and meditate on that however you do. And it's also the celebration of trees. So if you're a tree lover like me, use that Leo heart wherever that falls in your chart, and use it to love on the trees because they do so much for us, right? Leos are a fire sign, and they will their broad, so that's ego, and their broad cocoon is that they actually have to transcend influencing others without ego. So they are super prideful. They have like big loving hearts that can actually be inverted to hate. So they want to watch for that. And they like really feel like they don't need any help, and then they do influence others to others' detriment as well as karmically to their own, and they feel like the universe just revolves around them. So their major correction is to transmute that ego, to drop the pride, and use that big like loving influence they have for the good of all without the need for any approval, and then really in selfless service. So next we have Virgos. Virgos are, they're a earth sign, so they'll get stuck easily. They tend towards, their broad cocoon is judgment, but they are perfectionists, and they will scrutinize down to like the minutia, the external world, and they have no sight to see that it's them. Even those of us who realize that we live in a holographic universe and we're doing reflective work, it gets to be a major blind spot. So this is a good placement to touch base on if you are in a major blind spot, and nothing seems to be bringing you out of it, even talking with other people or doing your journal work, whatever that is. Maybe check your house for where your Virgo placement is. So they, and all of this can lead to codependency for them. So their major correction is to realize they're not confined by their limited tangible consciousness of the five senses, of emotions, of logic. And this is where we talked about in class, like their remorse work is going to benefit them so highly because of their severe judgment. And then they can take that ability to scrutinize and actually go like change themselves and like do the work to change themselves, see where they've been judging, ask the questions, get super curious about judgment here. And we chatted pretty in-depthly in the Jedi course and the workshop, the vessel workshop today about the remorse work, and I'll touch base briefly on it here, that the remorse work has been a game changer. If you haven't done it or you haven't seen the course that Jess did on it, that was January 8th and of this year, 2025, and I highly recommend it because I found just loops that were continuously into vibrating, loops that brought me to my knees and actually begged the creator to change, because I had done that, like, okay, I accept this. Why is this in my movie? How is this serving me? I fully accept this. Any forgiveness work, anything that was required there, choosing new, and just getting to the point I was like, I know. Apparently I'm addicted to this. How does it make it stop? But what was happening is it was, this is a karmic loop that we have to feel. So for Virgos and all of us, that's going to purify you, and you have to feel it to heal it. So you're going to feel it one way or another. So I really highly suggest that you go into the remorse work, listen to the video, go in without judgment, go in with your spirit team on your own time, with your creator, with everybody, just feeling completely like you got yourself and that you're taken care of and protected in the spirit world. And do it, because otherwise you're just going to keep getting hit with it. And I also promise you that begging the creator for help does work when you are in those situations, because those loops stopped hitting me so fast. And then the remorse work like really just kind of solidified it. But every time something comes up in that kind of life review, I go into the remorse work, and those patterns, they actually like course correct. So revisit all of that. And next we're into Libras. So Libras are an air sign, so they lack commitment, and they are confused easily. They are indecisive. They can't decide because they are weighing all the options. They even have superficial judgment. They don't want to make the they don't want to make the wrong choice. And then when they finally do make a choice, they go back and do the same thing with it. So this can actually lead to codependency because they let other people decide for them. And they just want to be really certain in the light. And know that as long as we touched base on this last week and in class, as long as you're making choices, you're making decisions in love and unity, and that you're going to be course corrected in the light. So you can go ahead and like actually make a choice, even if you're not to that full point of feeling completely certain yet. Just start making choices with the right intentions. And this, I'll refer you back to the graphic last week that we focused on always giving, like being the light and always giving, and then also receiving as the giver. And then that, coupled with the activation of the golden rule of doing unto others as you would have done to you, that is going to give you that feeling state of the quantum physics. And it's really like a quick and easy way to put this all together and start really seeing some results. So I really like that. We'll get into the correction of Libras. Their major correction is, one, they have to go ahead in relationships, in teamwork, in the we versus me, so into unity. And then also they want to look where they're in like their intimate like partner relationship, where they might be too involved in self-development or in the relationship, because they really have to balance those two out. And they also want to look there about platonic versus sensual in that relationship, so that they're leading more to the sensual rather than ending up in lifetimes of platonic relationships where they're too involved in like self-development, or the other way around in the relationship. And they are required to love selflessly. So like right there in the relationship, if they can really love their partner, and I mean others as well, unconditionally, that's going to help make their correction. So next we have Scorpio, which we touched base on in class, and I told you it would be big. So some of these are bigger, where you can see some of this is like stuff we're all working on, but we might just want to check our placements sometimes on it if it's not coming to fruition more often. But like the Scorpios, they are a water sign, so that's where the fear and uncertainty comes into. And they their major cocoon is control and jealousy. They are highly intuitive, which is like to their detriment, because they pick up on subtle cues and then they kind of run with it in that suspicious or paranoid mind. And as we touch base in class, they're honest to a fault, and they say things that we should table. And the focus in class was, and there's a lot of reasons you're going to table things, right? Because we always want to ask what this soul needs in this moment. So maybe it's like we don't want to give Brett a shame, or we don't want to just say something like super tactless. But here with the Divine Feminine, we want to provide, we want to move forward super sensitively, because the Divine Feminine can actually crack her own vessel with her self-judgment, which I think we're all aware of. I touched base on it pretty in-depthly in class. We have a graphic for it. But if you just think about society, even just a commercial, or walking by somebody and hearing a comment, and or actually having it said to you, right there we can see how well, that kind of jumped ahead. But anyways, I'll backtrack, because I did misspeak and I kind of got ahead of myself there. But so she'll crack her own vessel, and that is indoctrinated in society by self-judgment. But then the Divine Masculine can actually shatter her vessel with like the littlest comments, and that could be just anywhere, like somebody, anywhere in your mirror where you hear it, whether it's a television show, whether it's on the radio, somebody saying it to another woman, or somebody saying it to you. And it doesn't even have to be a big thing but coming from the masculine, it will completely shatter the feminine because he's supposed to take care of her, right? So we want to look at where we're doing that to ourselves and our feminine, and then also where we're doing that, like in the masculine, like if you are overly masculine and imbalanced, then you might be cracking and shattering your whole vessel, as well as where you might be doing that yourself if you're in your masculine to either to other females, or other females might be doing it to you, which is then going to be reflective as well. So take a good look at your Scorpio for that and a couple other reasons. This is going to be a bigger one, like I promised, because Scorpios also can create drama that overwhelm people, and they actually can look to take from people. So there might be things in your life that you're doing that you don't even realize that are overwhelming others, or are like taking from others, where you're like giving unconditionally, and you're like, I've got a good handle on this, but something's still like leaking out, or whatever's going on. And I will tell you, just from my life in general, like my past story, Scorpio is my ascendant. So this had me revisit that and look at like the control I had in over exercising, controlling food, competing in competition, training other people, just the control there. So how that was one, first cracking, but then entirely shattering my vessel, judging, jealousy and control. So there was like jealousy of other people's bodies that I was working super hard to kind of attain, and all under the guise of like, this is healthy, I'm going to move forward in like my older years in functional fitness, and I'm, all of this, like claiming it was healthy and not really admitting to myself, yet at the same time judging others too, because like, well, you don't even take care of yourself, but like, your life's got it going on. So you can see where you might be doing this in your Scorpio. And so I really encourage you to take a look there, because I found that super intriguing. And their major correction is that they have to lose control to the 99%. We all do, but Scorpio more so because they are more controlling. And then let go of jealousy, let go of fear of loss, and this is going to then increase their receiving and their ability to just share abundantly. They want more spontaneity, and that's going to transcend for their freedom, as well as the last note I want to make is that they really might experience a painful loss in the material to achieve and accomplish their correction. So if that is you and that's happened, remember that pain is cleansing. It had to happen, just like all of this, right, at this point. And just rejoice in it and know that, like, we're all here for you if you're going through it, or if you had, and you have my compassion, and rejoice because, like, you hit a major point of your correction. So next is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is another fire sign, so they're going to fall under ego, and their broad cocoon is guilt and lack of sensitivity, which really stems from their risk-taking, their pleasure seekers. They actually take pleasure in the challenge, which is to their detriment because they really take their eyes off the prize, which is their goals. So their major correction is actually going to be like defining their goals and taking action steps towards their goals. Their bridge is loyalty, and then they want to really like just do away with the challenge. It doesn't matter. And then that's going to lead to like just knowing that the most important thing for them is authentic sharing. So next we're going to head into Capricorn. And Capricorns are earth signs, so they get stuck easily, and they are so selfish in the material, and they don't take action. They don't really have any spark to love themselves or love life, which really has them falling into that like codependency on their parents, as well as like conformity. So their major correction is to take risks, to take action, to really commit to loving life, to loving themselves, to getting involved in things outside themselves so that they can, break free of that dependency on their parents, and really focus on sharing and unity. Aquarius is an air sign, and they lack commitment, if you recall, and their broad cocoon is ego and relationships. So Aquariuses have like huge energy, and they are here to make waves. But they really don't think they even have an ego. So their major correction is that they have to change themselves and not everyone else. And just like Libra and I believe Gemini, have to focus on the we versus me for the good of all, and let go of pride and controlling of others. And this is especially going to be important with their partners. So they want to have balance there and equality. And that right there, I think, is going to help to nullify their pride if they go for that equality in a relationship. Lastly, we have Pisces. And Pisces, actually, they're a water sign. So we're in the lack of security and lack of certainty again. And their broad cocoon is they lack backbone. And this is because they really lack a desire to receive, but also can be selfish in their receiving. And they're really just terrified of losing the protection of people seeing who they truly are. So they hold on to their masks. They're super passive. They're easily influenced. They can be super judgmental. And they just have such low self-worth that they already feel that everything is okay, so they rely on that passiveness, and so they don't look for change, which shows the lack of backbone, and that leads to a lot of suffering for them. So their major correction is really to serve the all, and they want to look for certainty. They want to do it without judgment. And again, like Virgos and all of us, they want to just realize that they're not confined by that tangible consciousness of the five senses, the emotions, the logic. And this is going to open up their spirituality, which is huge. So they're super psychic, they're super intuitive, they're super spiritual. So we can see how this could potentially be what shut them down, if not in this lifetime, most likely in past lives. And this is what has led to just that over passivity of just not taking any action or any risks. So that is all 12 of the signs. I do encourage you, if you are interested, to go ahead and look at Rob's book, and I'll get you all these resources. He even goes into your past lives, showing you how you got where you are. And one of the other things that's really beneficial for me is to listen to the weekly forecast. I know Jess has shared that in the past, but that's just right on YouTube and the Kabbalah Center. So there's just so much information that's available to us. And if you have any questions, reach out. I will have those resources available for you for all the websites, all the for the book, for the recommendations, as well as the remorse. I'll just note it in the notes, the remorse workshop or class that came out, and that was the 4 steps to breaking the glass ceiling, as well as just references for you for that image for the giving, receiving, and activation with the golden rule, and then the cracking and shattering of the vessel. So I can't thank you enough for letting me share with you guys. I'm really excited to hear from you, where this fits with you, what is happening with you, what you find in other sites that may either benefit and solidify this, or more information. Not that we need a ton more information, right? But anything that can help us move along. And I'm telling you, this work that we're doing, just the building the vessel is what has been missing. So I really encourage you to take really good heed of that, and then go into your loss and desires work, as Jess has put in. And then, of course, always take the best care of yourself. Don't overdo it, because I think we've all gotten ourselves in that route. Just slow down. Slow down, do it, let it integrate, and go from there. So I love you all. Thank you. And I will see you in class. I have a couple of things that I'll be coming out with as they get ready. And I've really enjoyed sharing this with you. So have the best full moon in Leo and celebration of trees tonight.